for some more information there. Okay, Mom, if you go ahead, this is Ingeborg Helga Jensen Steele.
Well, that's quite a title. I don't live up to that, haven't I? Well, Gary, you asked for it. You might have to turn it off because it's going to be a little boring. Because we lived a very uneventful, sheltered life. The folks came over from Denmark and back. Well, I don't know what year they came over, but Dad was 21 and Mom was about 18. And they met after they got over here. Dad came from Lingsted and Mom came from Aarhus. And after they got over here, they settled down in a little Danish town of Nysted. There was only not very many people lived there, probably half a dozen people. There was a church and a grocery store, and we had the school there, and the folk school was there. We lived about a mile from
Yeah, but that must have been to Nysted, maybe, not to this country.
Yeah, but land sakes, the folks, they were...
I know they were married before that.
Well,
They were
yeah.
married in 81.
Well, because Sophie was born then.
Well, sure.
And Edward and
I know
Alan.
they were born by that
Yeah.
time. Yeah, sure they were.
So they had to be over here.
So what time they come into the country?
They came to this country because Dad had his, I remember he said his 21st birthday on the road on the way over here.
That's right.
On the ship. He was 21, and that was in 1881. Because he was born in 1860, and 21, that'd have to be 81. That they came here. Then they were married in 87. That's when the folks were married in 87.
Well, start in telling when the folks.
When I
Well,
went,
Yeah, I'm taking picture now.
Oh,
well, you're taking a picture now.
Yeah, I'm taking picture
Well,
now.
we're not quite ready for it, you know that.
I'm not ready.
And they came to this country in 81 on the boat because he celebrated his 21st birthday on the way over here. So that had to be 61 or 81.
And the folks were married in,
Both were married
87.
in 87. When they were married.
Sophie was born 89,
I was wondering if I've got any of that.
Sophie was
in my
born in
book.
88.
in 88.
I don't know what I have in
They were married in April of 87, and Sophie was born in July of 88
Where were they married at? In Nysted?
at Nysted.
In Nysted?
Nysted Church.
They lived east of Nysted the first few years they were married. We were all born east of Nysted except Rose and Hilda and Axel. They
Yeah.
were born west of Nysted,
Was that quite a ways
a mile west of Nysted.
west away,
Well,
Nysted?
folks did live in the sod house when they were first married.
Yeah.
And that was on the west side of Nysted.
I was thinking that too.
Uh-huh.
In 1910, they built that big house. I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but I know it's where it
Yes,
was. I was 2 years old when they moved into that house.
Was that the last house they lived out on the farm, or did?
No, they lived there until in 25, when Godfrey got married. Then they moved to, then they had built that new house and moved in that new house. Spring of 25.
And that wasn't very far away, was it, from the other one?
No, that was just about half a mile
Yeah,
across
half a
the
mile.
field. 'Cause
And we walked to Nysted school all the time.
Yeah,
But boy, we had to milk cows in the morning before we left
that's for sure.
and wash the separator.
Well, how far did you have to walk?
A mile
A mile? To school, I mean.
to school.
Was
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
But boy, we didn't mind walking a mile when we went down to high school and played games with the high school boys.
Oh, no, that
That
was,
was fun.
we'd walk back and forth to school, and then we'd
Yeah.
walk back down there in the evening again to have something going on, to young people's meeting or whatever was going on, and then
Gymnastics.
gym hall.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Folk dancing.
Yeah. Gymnastics.
gymnastics.
Mm-hmm. You didn't stay in town there at that school then, did you?
No,
It wasn't much of a town.
No,
they had a folk school there then.
And there was a grocery store there.
yeah.
A lot of guys from Denmark came over there to that high school.
It was Danish.
A lot of they'd come and they'd
Mhm.
work in the summertime, and then in the wintertime they'd come out there and they'd kind of make that their home in the wintertime.
But they all spoke Dane there then, is that it?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
it was strictly
everything was
Danish.
strictly Danish.
We didn't hardly
Mhm.
talk much English till we went to school.
Uh-uh.
No, you didn't all live there at the same time though, did you, at home? I mean, some of them were married when,
Oh,
The youngest
we was
ones
there
were
for
born?
a long time, or that is quite a while anyway, before any of the older boys, they start leaving.
And the Danes always celebrated their birthdays. Everybody had a birthday, boy, we'd go to birthdays. And then we'd come in, everybody shake hands. Good
Oh,
afternoon,
yes.
fa.
Uh-huh.
Sig en hatt du har. Sig en ben, sig en
And
lov,
when-
sig en
and when
split
they
du
went-
tar.
Before
Yeah.
they went home, when they always went around, good evening, or good
Yeah,
night,
yeah.
to tell everybody, we'd shake hands.
now,
and
what
talk
does that,
about
what does that mean then? Does that mean,
Yeah, it was really nice. We
Talk
were brought
about-
up well that way. We didn't just say, see ya.
Mhm.
No,
Uh-uh.
we did it proper.
You betcha. Very proper.
Stop. Again.
Nu har vi jul igen. Julen var vi till påska.
Nu har vi jul igen.
Nu har vi jul igen och julen var vi till påska.
You know what that means?
no, I don't know what that means.
Now
Now
we have
Christmas
Christmas
lasts till Easter.
Now we have Christmas again.
Yeah.
Christmas lasts till.
Now, was that's what, a Danish
Easter.
song, is that it?
Yeah, that's where we danced around the Christmas tree. And
We
that's what we
always
sang.
held hands and went around and around the
You
Christmas.
did that as a family
Yeah.
at Christmas
whole
time, huh?
family, yeah.
I had the Christmas tree in the parlor, and boy, we weren't allowed in that parlor until
They had those doors that,
folding doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they were shut tight till they had all the candles lit.
Yeah, we had
Uh-huh.
candles. of
Then
course.
they opened the door so we could come in. Then we
Mhm.
had to sing around the Christmas tree.
I remember we kids, we'd try to get over there and try to
Peek.
peek a little bit in through there. And boy, when Thora, she'd see us there, we'd kick us out right quick.
Me,
Yeah, I remember that.
I never got to go in there.
Oh, well, you were bigger than I was. You got there before I
Right,
did.
but Sophie and Ella, they were the ones
Yeah,
that you
but I
couldn't
don't
get
even-
in there.
I don't even remember.
I don't
Sophie and Ella
remember
being
getting
home
a
for
chance to
Christmas.
light candles.
We weren't very old when Ella was there.
No, I don't remember Ella ever, being home.
Stop.
I mean, not to live.
I remember when she was married though,
Well, I
When
could
was
just
she
remember
married?
parts of it.
15.
And that house was built in 1910.
Yeah,
And we had snowdrifts about like we had in 49 here.
yeah.
She was married in,
I was just 7 years old when Ella was married. I don't remember much about
And
it.
we had a big snowstorm that time.
Yeah.
see, there was a snowstorm. Well, she got to ride in a bobsled and I did too when I got married. I was,
Yeah.
Did you?
Ella and Otto took me to Aurora in a bobsled.
Oh, really?
She was down there and we were supposed to gotten down there for their
They had
wedding.
a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Elton and I were supposed to gone down there to be witnesses for them when they got married. And we couldn't get there for snow.
Godfrey got,
Then, yeah, and then Godfrey, he finally got dug out. The snowplow came up by our place, but Elton couldn't get up there. He couldn't get up to our place.
Well, I know they opened
So
the road.
Godfrey and we drove to Aurora. We were supposed to meet them there.
Grand Island.
Yeah, Grand Island, yeah. We went there to meet them because we were supposed to meet them there and be witnesses for when they got married. But we got there, they weren't there. Didn't find them. I don't know, come to find out anyway, they got married in Aurora.
They got
we
married
didn't think
before we
you'd
got
go
there.
They couldn't get to Grand Island,
Oh.
so they got married in Aurora.
Mm.
Clarence was there and he couldn't get out the farm and they couldn't get into town at all. So we
Well,
were
where did Thora get married at then?
She got married at Nystead Church.
Mhm.
She had a wedding.
And then Rose got married where?
Nice. Then we got married at home
Did you?
at the folks' place, the folks' house. Well, just because we wanted to.
Oh.
We didn't want a lot of people at our wedding, so we just had
We
it at
didn't
home.
either.
Married at the folks' place at home. Otto and Ella were out and Godfrey's were there and Elton's folks and that's all that was there. My folks, of course.
We didn't even get to the wedding.
No, you didn't come to my wedding. No, I wasn't important enough.
I was down for Hilda's wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
Going down to Milton's them.
Yeah, but at that time I
Well, you
wasn't
didn't wear
old enough.
dresses then, or
I wasn't old enough. to
Well,
milk
that
the
was our
milk.
chore.
so? How many cows did you milk? Quite a few.
12 of them.
About
12
12.
of 'em, yeah.
And there was
Yeah.
3 of us usually, Einer and you and I.
And Einer.
Yeah, that's what I said,
Yeah.
Einer and you and I. Because Godfrey took care of the horses.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah. Einer took care of the milk cows.
Yeah,
Calves.
and
And then as we got old enough to milk, to help, well, then we had to help, the girls had to help with the milking.
And those darn cows would sleep in their barn all night, and the gutter would be full, and the
And then
tail
they
would
switch the
switch.
tail, wrap it around your neck maybe.
That
That'd be-
little wet tail.
Oh,
And you have to clean it out.
that was really nice.
it's
Yeah.
always nice if one of the lower ones were there, they could stand and hold the
Stand and
tail.
hold the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And we sit and squirt milk at the cats. Cats would sit there and open their
Yeah.
mouth and
Or
we'd
one
squirt.
another.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if anybody else happened to get by, they'd get
And
squirted.
what, then you sold the milk and took it to town, or did you just
No,
use it
we
yourself?
separated,
We separated.
carried it to the house where there's a separator in the basement there.
And we take the skim milk down to the pigs.
Yeah, and sell cream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did you have a car all the time, or did you?
No, I think the first car the folks ever had was
Was
like,
it Maxwell?
Maxwell.
not the first one was a Dodge.
Was it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they had that Dodge that had all those just
Curtains on it.
kind of little curtains there.
Oh, yeah.
Touring car, it's a Dodge. I don't know, was that in about 1918, I think, wasn't it?
Would drive down to Ellis.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stop.
My age, Bernice.
Oh, Jennings?
Jennings.
Jenny's.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't in Dane school though. That was in the school he
No,
taught.
but I mean, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
The boys that hide out and out back.
Yeah, she was
The
talking.
bell would ring.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say, that was when Jennings was there.
Oh, yeah, that could be, yeah.
You're not recording all that, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, you could stop again.
88,
88.
they were married in 87.
And every 2 years, there was another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they go on. And then till Axel's the youngest one, and he was born in 1912. So you see, there was a long,
Span there, yeah.
12 kids. you know.
24 years.
24
That's right,
years.
for 24 years. That mother was pregnant or
She
had,
just get
had a baby, yeah.
Probably nursing for quite a while with one, and then the next one came along.
That's right.
I suppose that's all
And
they
there's just
had.
24 years, the oldest one was 24 years older than the youngest one.
thank you.
I mean, you never sat down with your parents and just talked about
Well, nothing
the old
special
days?
by that,
Did you get it working?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got a picture.
yeah, you're working there now.
What was I gonna say?
Didn't you sit
But
around
we're
the
all-
fireplace or anything and just talk as a family about life in the old country? And
No, not an awful lot, no, because I think the folks, they had talked about that so many years before we come along that they weren't interested. We didn't realize, that there was anything
anything special?
special that time to talk about. They just, I never even knew what Dad ever did. He was 21 on his way over here, but I said, what he ever did before he got here, I really don't know what they ever. When they first came, I know Dad worked on the railroad, and they
Is that how they got out here?
got the railroad.
I think, wasn't Dad about 21 when he come over?
He was got 21 on his way over here.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But, and I know he worked with, on the railroad. I don't know where it was. Going west. I know there was in Idaho. He worked railroad out that way.
Did you say they lived in a sod house when they moved here?
Yeah, when they first got married, they lived in a sod house. I don't know how long they were there. I don't think too awfully
I
long.
don't think so, no.
And they moved to the other side of Nicetown. They were in regular house then, I think, after that.
Well, why don't you talk to each other?
But I'm not, but I'm not really down.
Tempe guts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Åker till school.
I Nysta.
Vad lärde du det?
Och vi snackade dansk. Och läst.
Det har vi gjort.
Ja, och så.
Och så gick vi ner till Nysta så dansade vi.
Mystique.
Yeah. Mystique.
I even shut it off for a while.
Well, you gotta tell us what you said.
Well, we just told them where we went to school and what we did.
You got it written down there if you wanna use it.
Move here then, I guess.
Thora moved in 27. I moved in 27. I worked for Riley for 4 years before I was married. Thora worked at Chadron before she was married.
And who else moved here besides?
Well, the boys were here first. Well, the brothers were here.
That was after they moved out.
Yeah, Edward and Viggo and Sophie all lived out here, and then we came out here. We followed them out.
They all lived out on the farm, didn't they?
Started the whole movement.
Yeah, they lived out on the farm. They had that Danish settlement out there. All the Danes from Marquette and Kronberg and Neistat and St. Edwards
Kansas.
all moved out here.
And then Rose lived, where'd she live from?
I just stayed back in Howard County, Dannebrog. Yeah.
Did you live in Dannebrog or what?
No, I never lived, we always lived on a farm. Went to school at Dannebrog. And after that, then I got married. And we lived closer to Bolus, on a farm. And, well, we always stayed out in that same area anyway, until Alan got sick. Then we moved to Kennesaw. Boys were all born and raised on the farm at Bolus.
My kids were born in Hay Springs and lived there. Where Gary didn't.
Hmm.
Sharon is still out on the farm. But nobody milked cows like we did when we were kids.
Nobody milked cows.
No.
All the kids did.
I was gonna say, how did you milk them differently from other kids?
Well, I mean, these kids we raised didn't milk cows.
They milked by machine.
We didn't have a milk machine.
We had 12 cows and we had to milk them every morning before we went to school.
And that was the hard way by hand.
Yeah, we stripped them. Fed the calves.
You and I did the milk. Godfrey took care of the horses.
We told him all that once. Is that recorded?
You laughed.
Well, yeah, but in the Runners, it's a town. They were both in what they call Jutland now. The name of the, I don't know what you call it, it's not a county or anything, but it's just a little different island. It's the main island of Denmark. That they were born, both of them.
Now, which ones are those? I mean, which parents?
Jutland. Jutland, it's spelled
Hmm.
now. American.
Yeah, now the Sorensens, where did they come from there? You know?
The Sorensens.
Yeah.
Well, see, that mother was a Sorensen. That's where she was born at Jutland. And she was just 7 years old when she came to this country.
Hmm.
Her mother died over there, and then her family, the rest of her family, they came over here.
Her dad married his cousin, wasn't it?
His niece,
His niece?
by marriage. Actually, his niece, his mother's cousin, that was he was married to. Yeah, his wife's.
They got married after they came over here.
Well, I don't even know that. They might have been married in Denmark before they came. I don't know. They came over together anyway, but she was just keeping house for him at the time, or if they were married there, I don't know. Different opportunities here, you know, than there was there.
Yeah, that really took courage to pick up and
kinda like going to the moon.
Yeah, this is
Right.
fine.
Sunrise, yeah.
Let's go up
They
there.
just went by the boatload coming here. I don't know, I don't even know how long it took them to get here. I don't remember them ever saying.
They said 2 weeks, didn't it?
I'm sure it's all
Well,
that.
and Grandpa and then Dad and Uncle JP, they came over first. They didn't all come the same day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, Dad, well, I remember Dad telling that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
How'd they ever hook up? Or they wrote back
I don't
and
know.
told them to come, or?
And that, I suppose some of the others come afterwards anyway.
Oh, I never knew that.
Come with his parents or something.
Hmm?
Must have come with his folks.
Well, I suppose. Then what did all them other younger ones do? They didn't all come together.
I don't know.
Well, we better stop for a while.
Some of them had twice or, the same month. Axel and I, we had birthdays the same day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
The same date.
yeah, just 4 years, 4
But you
years.
went
4
twice.
years.
Well, the same day of the
Yeah,
month,
yeah,
yes.
calendar.
Oh, it's 4 years,
His
just today.
light is still blinking over there, you better think hard.
Did.
Yeah.
Well, now, did any of you go to college then after you got through school, or did y'all graduate from high school?
Couldn't hardly afford to send a bunch of kids like that to college.
Thora and I went to Grandview one winter.
Go at the same time?
Yeah, down,
I think most of the older ones went up there.
I was in Des Moines, Iowa.
Lydia and Ina went.
Sophie did, Lydia and I
Well,
did.
Sophie didn't go to school, she worked down there.
Oh, I thought
She
she
worked
went
in
to
the
school
kitchen.
first. Yeah, I knew she worked there. I thought she found school first.
Then none of the others.
Hilda and I, we graduated from Danbury High School. We just had, what, about 5 miles, 6 miles to Danbury.
Had an old Model T and they'd crank it in the morning. Hilda broke her arm.
When it kicked back?
Yeah, they would do that, those things. She cranked it, broke her arm anyway.
Now, did your parents try to arrange any of your marriages?
Never,
They didn't do that.
never.
Never? Meaning, no, you didn't want them to do that, or
Well,
that
they
just
just
wasn't
didn't.
custom?
They never did interfere with any of the kids that I ever know of that, who
Not
we
as
married
long-
or who.
Not as long as we behaved ourselves.
Well, I mean, he said about getting married.
Oh, no.
They never arranged any weddings or anything
No, I
like
don't
that,
think
or
we
said,
ever-
no, we couldn't go with this one or marry that one or anything. That was,
They seemed to be satisfied with what.
Well, how'd they check out your dates, you know?
they didn't.
They
Oh,
didn't?
yes, they did.
Well, they did somewhat. Well, yeah, because yes, I know, we had to, as long as we was going with some of the nicer kids, well, then it's all right.
Yeah, and the Danish kids were always all
Yeah.
right too. Outside of the Danish, they didn't
But,
trust us. No,
yeah, I know that too.
There was a whole community of
whole
Danes?
community was
Just
Danish.
a Danish community, and the church and school and everything was there was Danish.
Mhm.
Well, and the storekeeper was Danish, and then we went go to Danbury, that was 4 miles off, and they were all Danish. All the merchants were Danish.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Well, Dannebrog was a Danish town.
well, yeah, was
Now Danbury is a
Danish capital.
Danish capital of the United States.
Well, did you all marry Danes then?
No,
Well, what did they think of that?
they didn't like it, I don't think,
The
either.
older ones all did.
Yeah, the first half dozen.
By that time, the rest of us got out.
We had to leave home.
You had to leave home?
Get out and scratch for a living, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who is the oldest one in the family, and then who's the next oldest? Can you name them?
Sophie, Edward, Ella, Viggo, Lydia, Godfrey, Einer, Thora, Ikey, me, Hilda, and Axel.
Who's me?
Me, Rose.
So how many boys and how many girls then?
7 girls, 5 boys.
And there's only 4 left.
Mm-hmm.
couldn't understand what he was laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old party line.
Yeah, we
Sure
we
did.
started,
Well,
we
was
started
talking
talking
about-
Dane, well then you
Talk
hear the
about
receivers
something
go
we
out.
didn't want anybody else to-
Well, that way you keep the gossip down, huh?
Sure,
Didn't have to worry about what he was talking about, cause nobody understand you
they
anyway.
couldn't understand us at all.
But Bubs, he'd always pick up something he shouldn't, didn't he?
They usually do.
He always knew words he shouldn't have known.
Now, did any of your husbands understand Dane?
Clarence didn't.
Mine did.
He did?
He was Dane too.
Oh. So,
Well, Dick didn't, he never talked Dane, did he?
Dick?
Yeah.
No.
No, he wouldn't even try to talk.
Didn't understand it or anything, of course. no.
That's why we just lost all we did know, because the men couldn't talk and it's no use.
Well, the kids that have asked me, they said, why didn't you teach us to talk Dane? I said, well, a fat chance of me teaching them to talk Dane. Dick couldn't understand it.
Well, the kids weren't interested in it at that time anyway, they wouldn't even,
they didn't want to learn
Cut
it.
Not as much.
Elton could, but the kids, they didn't, well, we never did talk Danish around home, Elton and I. The only time we would talk Danish if we was talking about something we didn't want the kids to know about, well, then we could talk Danish, they wouldn't understand us.
Or if we were with the folks, of course, we could.
Yeah. Chickens and eggs and,
Cream.
yeah, well, Andy Dwayers, he still had her book, you know, his mother's book. And he'd look back, cause my brothers come down there one time to watch. Only they was gonna go the, crossing way to Europe, and then they had to have, certificates, or what you call, birth certificate and stuff, you know, to get. And, he just, well, he could find that, he found the book, and there was J.C. Jensen about every 2 years, when there'd be another baby, just boy or girl, whatever, so.
That's
Then
fine.
it was $5 for each one as it went down the line. $5.
Cheaper by the dozen.
Yeah.
That's a little different than now, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yes.
How big a house did you have?
Well, the first house wasn't so big.
But as the family grew,
I was gonna say, you
Well,
probably
and
never had more than about 9 though at home at one time, right?
No, that's about it. But in
Well, I
19,
remember though that last house that.
well, in 1910, Dad built that house, and there was
Big
5
square
bedrooms
house.
upstairs, and a bedroom downstairs, and a big living room, and a big
It
kitchen.
was really a big house.
That was a big house.
And the big table we always had in the kitchen, that was, you know, where we could seat 12 around that table, you know.
had a big long bench for all the boys. They sat on the bench.
Oh,
The
yeah.
rest of us sat on chairs.
But we always
Lot
had,
of- Lots of potatoes and meat and gravy, that was the main.
We never went hungry.
No, sure didn't.
I don't know how we fed all of them.
That's probably why you were farmers, right? So you could at least feed your kids, and then anything else you sold.
Mom would bake bread. She'd have a great big,
She put 6 loaves in at
Yeah.
a time. She baked
great big
in a
loaves of
pan.
bread, and
She used to have 2 pans of those, be 6 loaves in each
And
pan.
that's
They
more
were
than
big
lots of
loaves.
these too.
took a lot to feed
Yeah,
'em.
lots of bread.
Well, how come none of you had 12?
Oh dear. Heaven forbid.
You didn't want to carry on the tradition?
No, hardly, no, we didn't think of that.
You thought 12 was too many?
And it wasn't cheaper by the dozen that time, or now.
Now, were you all close as kids, as brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think we were as close as any family ever. Of course, now it,
I mean, there's 24 years between the
well, sure,
oldest and the
that's what I
youngest.
said, but because really my older brother and sister, I don't remember them ever being home much. They did not, you know, all the
They
time.
were around there though.
They were around and they'd come home, but, as far as just living at home all the time, I don't remember
No,
Sophie
they
and
didn't live at home.
Ella ever being, you know,
Now,
just,
did they have
Being
kids,
home.
you know, your guys' age?
Yeah, Ella had a son that was the same age as Gary, or not Gary, I mean, Axel.
Yeah.
They were about the same age.
at Harold.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he was 8 years younger than,
They were closer than anybody else.
yeah.
in their bedroom.
And we had 2 beds in
We
our
had 2
bedroom.
bedrooms in our. or
2
in
beds
that
for
one
7 girls?
No,
Well, no, then they had not, but I mean, we had 2 beds in one bedroom, then the other bedroom, they had another,
Well, we had 5 bedrooms upstairs.
yeah, there's 5 bedrooms upstairs. And the one that was always a spare bedroom, guest room. We had a lot of time, that's a lot of people would come visit or something like
How
that.
many
they'd all-
guests would wanna come to a house with
We'd have
12
a shed.
kids?
Well, you'd be surprised, there was. They'd always stay, you know, they, you know, we didn't have a way of getting around, like in cars, go back and forth fast in one day, they'd stay over, you know.
Yeah.
So we always had to have a spare room for visitors.
on Sundays we go to church and we always have somebody home with us from church. I don't know how mom ever fed all those kids. We always had
Either
company.
that or we'd go up to Uncle Julius's.
Yeah, seemed like there were a lot of places.
Yeah, usually about each kid had some friend that'd come along home after church.
Canyon
Down to the hills.
and jump the ditch down there.
Oh,
Right. Then we'd have to pull it back up.
Pull back up the hill again, to get another ride down.
That was our recreation.
Did any of the kids ever get hurt having fun like that?
Rose got a sliver once.
That wasn't from the buggy though.
A sliver? That's the worst
That was
accident?
on a swing.
No, it
No,
wasn't a
it
swing.
wasn't on the
Wasn't
swing.
that when we had a swing?
No, it wasn't a swing.
She slid down a
And a
roof.
slide.
Oh, that's right.
I assume the sliver wasn't in a good place.
It wasn't. I don't know who dug it out.
Had to go to the doctor to get it dug out. He's tried, you know.
They slid down the roof and she got a sliver.
Wasn't funny either.
She went by the name of Slivers for a long time.
Slivers?
We had to go to St. Paul to the doctor too, to get that cut out. Wasn't funny.
You didn't sit down for a while, did you?
No, I didn't.
It'd take a while to get there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it did take a while to get there.
You know, for 12 kids, so we didn't have too many, no accidents.
No, not before. Axel wasn't in there.
No, maybe not then, but.
Axel, he slept with we girls. He was just a little boy.
Well, Edward and Diggle and Godfrey and I, they had
Yeah.
2 beds in that bedroom.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, but those 2 boys weren't home very much.
No,
No, not that much, but they were part-time. I don't remember when they were.
oh yeah, I remember they had 2 kids too.
Cut.
Is
You're
this
not
your
there
first
on the
trip?
plane long enough to sleep. are
I've
you?
been coming up for 13 years.
This is the building from the front. Front door. There's another door. One's going in the door and the other's going into the place where they used to have classes. This was established in 1896. This plaque is on the building that was built in 1904. This was the first part of the building, actually built in 1895. Stained glass window on the second floor. And inside the main building. This is where my best mom and best far have their names put on the wall in a plaque donated by the cousins. There's Mom and Jane talking to the gardener. Mom, show me where their name is.
Can you see the name?
Right there. This is a Victor Borgi piano in the Danish Immigrant Museum. This is the windmill without the windmill blades on it. They're in repairing it. There goes look like an old Dane, checking things out. This is the windmill that they're going to put up on top of the windmill. 65 feet high. They've had some damage. They're repairing it. There's the top that goes on there. Piece and brought back to the United States and then put together piece by piece. This is originally from Denmark.
Well, I tell you how what makes me think of what Burl's wife, Burl Jensens' wife, got very much involved in what they go. We're losing hell of a good education. They were losing money on every piece.
Taking pictures. I think that's what they sent out right there. No, I don't mean all that, but I mean. Okay, and then Jay and Kimberly.
Break it. I got a picture of a. Have you taken a picture? Yeah.
I see that too.
That'll be a great picture, yeah.
Take some pictures. I don't know. I get last photos really short. Michelle called. And he thought he found
playing Sharon too there?
Yeah, I guess for Brandy.
Oh.
17 cards.
Hey, Gary, you wanted?
You got it.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Hey.
We're up till 11.
Cheated. He got ahead of you this time.
He wanted one.
He wanted a bit
He
again.
wanted to.
I know. That's why I was looking at him. I thought maybe he was gonna go 5 just for a spite.
Did you pass, Lee?
Oh, I passed one time for him.
I had the help for you this time.
Let me see.
Yeah, well, Donnie, am I gonna have to help you?
Well, look at that, give it to him.
Oh, well, I better help you. Looks like you need it.
Well, no name for it. What do you think? I got A's dues.
Oh, yeah, your partner might come through.
Well, you wouldn't talk to us.
Oh, say hi. And we might have to take that. That's my partner. I said, you slipped through there.
A white man would have
I
slept.
give up that game.
He's right. I'll remember that feller.
The only pictures we really have of him is when we were taken of him when he wasn't lugging, or else they were taken when he was much younger. This was taken in 1947 at Bestema and Bestefa's 60th wedding anniversary. We stayed at this hall here in Nysted, Nebraska. This is the whole group together here. This is a picture taken of Grandma Steele's brothers and sisters at the 60th wedding anniversary. As you can see, there are 11 on the family at that time. This is Sophie, Ella, Lydia, Thora, Mom, and Rose, 1947. This is a picture of myself, my baptism, taken in Nysted, Nebraska with Bestema and Bestefa Jensen. This was taken on the same day of my baptism. This is taken at the age of 2, Steele, Bestefa and myself, when I was baptized. Jane's family and a little bit grandfather Jensen's home in Denmark. It was taken by P.J. Jensen in 1928 when he traveled over there to visit the old homestead. This is my great-great-grandparents Jensen, Bestefa Christian Jensen and Bestema Marie Jensen. Bestefa Christian Jensen, Bestema Marie Jensen. This is my mother's grandparents. This is Hans and Abelona Sorensen. Born to them was Anna Marie Sorensen, July 18th, 1868, in Aarhus, Jylland, Denmark. One son also was born, Soren Peter. Their mother passed away after a long illness when Anna Marie was 7 years old. Their father remarried his niece, Anne Kristen Stein. This is Great Bestema Abelona Sorensen. This is Great Bestefa Hans Sorensen. When Bestefa Sorensen remarried, he married Anne Christian Stein. A son was born while still in Denmark. When Albert was at the age of 3, and Anna Marie 13, they came to the U.S. with their parents in the spring of 1881. There were more children born in the U.S. Anna, Emma, Lona, and Peter. Lona died at the age of 3. Peter died in infancy. Anne Kristen Stein was his niece. This is a picture of my Bestafa Jensen and Bestama Jensen, taken in St. Paul, Nebraska. Jens Christian Jensen was born, Christian and Christens Jensen was born on September 5, 1860 in Randers, Jylland, Denmark. Other children were Jens Peter, Mary, Petra, Johannes, Alan, Mikael, and Julius. Christina died in infancy. In the fall of 1881, Jens Christian, at the age of 21, and his father came to the United States. They spent the winter in Michigan, coming to Nebraska in the spring, where he took a homestead near Oak Creek, 3 miles west of Dannebrog. The rest of the family came to U.S. that spring in 1882, living on the homestead. Jens Christ worked on the UP Railroad for some time. Bestafa Jensen. Bestama Anna Marie Sorensen. They were married in Nysted, April 7, 1887, in the Danish St. Peter's Lutheran Church. They were the first to be married in the new church. They lived on a farm a quarter-mile west of Nysted, where Sophie, Edward, and Ella were born. Then moved to a farm 1 mile south and 1 mile west of Nysted, where they lived but 1 year when he sold the farm and bought another farm 1 mile east and 3/4 mile south of Nysted, where they lived a number of years. The family grew, adding Viggo, Lydia, Gottfried, Einar, Thora, and Ingeborg. They sold that place and bought a farm 1 mile west of Nysted. They built up all new buildings over a period of years. Rose, Hilda, and Axel were born here. A new large house was built in 1910, where Axel was born in 1912. This is Bestama and Bestafa's 50th wedding anniversary in 1937. Bestafa died April 14th, 1947. Bestama Jensen died in December of 1953. This is Bestama and Bestafa Jensen's 60th wedding anniversary. This was taken shortly just before Bestafa died. He had been sick and in bed most of the time, but he was able to get up and have his picture taken at this time. The family attended the Danish Lutheran Church in Nysted regularly, also attending public school in Nysted, and several attended the Nysted Folk School, and also Grandview College of Des Moines, Iowa. Son Viggo was in the service during World War I. Edward was called and then released about the time of the armistice. In the spring of 1937, Bestama and Bestafa Jensen celebrated their 50th anniversary. Golden Jubilee with all the children present but Gottfried. They had moved to Oregon the previous fall. A few years later, they sold their farm and moved to Nysted, in the old Pete Jessen house owned by the Prices. In the spring of 1947, they celebrated their 60th anniversary. Bestafa Jensen was in poor health and wasn't able to be out of bed but little. All the children were present, and most of all the grandchildren. Hilda had passed away September 1941, just a week after celebrating their 60th anniversary. Bestafa Jensen passed away and was put to rest in the Nysted Cemetery. Bestama Jensen stayed on at the house in Nysted. In May, Anna Marie, daughter of Einar Jensen, drowned. Bestama Jensen came to Hay Springs for the funeral and stayed on for a short time. In the summer of 1953, Mrs. Jensen was not able to live alone, so came to Hay Springs and spent the remainder of her life, passing away in December 1953. She was taken to Nysted for burial. This picture was taken in 1903. In the back row, from the left to right, is Edward, Sophie, and Ella. In the front row is Mustafa, Viggo, Godfrey, Lydia, Einar, and Thora, and Bestamar. This picture was taken in 1918. On this from left to right are Edward, Godfrey, Otto, and Ella. We have Thora, Hilda, Rose, and Ingeborg. And we have Einar, Viggo, Mustafa, Axel, Bestamar, Sophie, and Lydia. Sophie, Edward, and Viggo went to Sheridan County to make their home in the spring of 1918. Ella was married in the spring of 1915 and settled in Marquette, Nebraska. Lydia settled in Hay Springs after marriage. Gottfried lived near Nysted. Christopher and Bestamar built a new home a half mile of their home place where they moved to in the spring of 1925. When Gottfried married and lived on the home place, Einar, Thora, and Ingeborg settled in Sheridan County when married. Rose settled near Nysted. Hilda married and settled at Cozad. Axel came to Hay Springs when married but returned to Nysted, Nebraska. This is the firstborn daughter, Anne Sophia Abelona Jensen, born July 6th, 1888, and was married in Nysted Church to Jensen Dahl. To them were born 5 children. This is Sophie's family. Jens and Sophie came to Sheridan County in 1917, where they farmed south of Hay Springs. The second-born son, Hans Edward Christian Jensen, was born February 18, 1890, and married Minnie Anderson on June 10, 1919, at Denmark Lutheran Church. Edward and Minnie had 4 children. They moved to Sheridan County in 1919 and farmed. In 1937, they moved to Oregon, where Edward was a carpenter. Third child was a daughter, Ella Kristen Jensen, born December 23, 1891, and married Otto Sorensen Larsen, March 4, 1915, in the Nysted Lutheran Church. They had 3 children. They farmed in Marquette, Nebraska, not very far from Aurora and Grand Island, Nebraska. Later on in life, they moved to Aurora, Nebraska, where they died. Fourth child born was a son, Peter Viggo Jensen, January 16, 1894. He married Dora Thusen, February 8, 1922, in Newell Lutheran Church. Viggo served in World War I. He died in 1983. Dora died in 1985. They farmed in Sheridan County, and in 1937 moved to Iowa and farmed there until their retirement. They have 4 children, Virgil, Darrell, Merlin, and Eula Gale. Fifth born was a daughter, Lydia Margaret Jensen, May 18, 1896. Lydia married Hans W. Scow, June 28, 1922, at Nysted Lutheran Church. Hans served in World War I Lydia died in 1964. Hans died in 1970. They had one child who was an adopted girl named Shirley Ann. Hans and Lydia came to Sheridan County, where Hans was a carpenter and later a farmer. In 1935, they moved to Oregon, where he was a carpenter. The sixth one was Thora Gottfried, born June 14th, 1898. Gottfried married Marie Berg on April 7, 1925 in Leisted Lutheran Church. Marie died in 1943. Gottfried died in 1973. Gottfried had 3 children, Gerald, Bernard, and Verl. Gottfried and Marie lived in Leisted and farmed until 1937, when they also moved to Oregon, where Gottfried did carpentry, work in a sawmill, and other types of carpenter work. Einar Theovold Jensen was the 7th born in March 14th, 1901. He married Dolores Heiding, June 6, 1928, at Priest Father Nally's house in Hay Springs. Einar and Doris farmed all their life. They lived in Sheridan County, south of Hay Springs. They now reside in town. They had 4 children, Virginia, Anna Marie, Larry, and Dean. Anna Marie died in 1947, and Larry died in 1954. Died in 1958. Thora was the 8th daughter. She was born on May 4th, 1903. On June 14th, 1928, Thora married Henry Aloysius Heiding at Neisted Lutheran Church. They had 3 children, Don, Joseph Gerard, and Linda Marie. Dick and Thora farmed in Sheridan County, south of Hay Springs, all their life. They later moved to Hay Springs, where they retired. Helga Ingeborg Jensen was the 9th child born on November 15th, 1905. She married Clarence Robert Steele on February 18th, 1932 in Aurora, Nebraska. Clarence died in 1969. They had 2 children, Gary and Sharon. Clarence and Ikey lived in Hay Springs and had a grocery store until their retirement. The 10th born child was Rose Jensen. Rose married Elton Boson, and they had 3 children, Dwayne, Randy, and Larry. I'm unable to know just when they were born. Hilda was the 11th child born. She was born in January 1st, 1910. Hilda, or Hicks as she was called, married Holger Foged in the Neisted Lutheran Church on August 25th, 1932. She died in 1941 during a gallstone operation. Holger died in 1968. They had 3 children, Rodney, Laverne, and Wayne. They lived and farmed on a farm near Cozad, Nebraska. The youngest one born was the 12th one, Axel Bernard Jensen, March 11th, 1912. Axel was married to Marion Anderson, July 14th, 1935, in Alliance, Nebraska. Axel and Marion lived in Hay Springs when they first were married. Axel worked in Steele's grocery store, then had a grocery store in Kronberg, Nebraska, then farmed in Iowa, and then later moved to Grand Island, Nebraska, where they are now living and retired. They had 4 children: Jacqueline Jean, Barbara Elaine, Beverly Ann, and Nancy Lee. This is a family picture taken in 1947, showing all the members of the family except one, Godfrey, who was not here at that time. This is a family picture taken in 1937 at the 50th wedding anniversary in Nysted, Nebraska. This was taken in 1937 at the 50th wedding anniversary also. This shows the whole family and the children, best of on, best of all. This is a close-up picture showing my dad and my mother, and I'm sitting on my mom's lap. I don't think Sharon was born at this time, or she was a very small baby. There's Dick hiding and Thora right beside, and Bup sitting in the front. This is Bestafaw reading the paper. I'm standing on the chair, looking over his shoulder as he's reading the paper. This is a picture of Mom standing at the back door of our house. Just wanted to show you mainly this picture. This is my go-kart that I made. As you can tell, it's a pretty sturdy looking item. I rather doubt that it won any races though. Hilda died. She was right at the time that Wayne Fogut was born, and Mom took care of him for about a year, and this is in 1941. This is another family picture. It has Ella, Axel, Mom, Viggo, Rose, Thora, and Sophie in 1953. Probably one of the worst blizzards that we had. I put a box on top of the sled and tied it down and would pull it through the streets until they got the roads open, which was several days. There was no other way to get around except by foot. Viggo and Dora Jensen, 1981. They have both passed away. This is Einar Jensen family with Dolores, Dean, Virginia, Jim, and Deanne. This is Virgil Jensen, his wife, and their family. This was taken at Chadron State Park at the family reunion in 1988. Virgil is Viggo's son. This is the rest of Viggo's family. There's Merlin and his wife, Daryl, and Eula Gale, and then Virgil there, and then there's their children and some of their grandchildren. This is Sophie's daughter, Milda. It's Milda and Harold Gade. They now live in Fort Collins. This is Sophie's other daughter, Vera, and their son Dennis and his wife and 2 children, along with Jean. This is Ella's daughter, Phyllis Insunza, and her husband. They live in California. This is Rose Boson and her family. This is Rose's son, Randy, and his wife, and 3 children. This is Dwayne Boson and his wife, and their 4 children. This is Thora hiding with her family. Linda is right next to her. This is Axel Jensen and his family, and his wife Marion. This is Mom and her family with Pete. And this is Rose. And there's Thora. And there's Mom. This is a family picture taken of them at the reunion. There's Thora, Einer, Mom, there's Rose, and Axel. This is taken with their spouses. There's Axel and Marion, and Thora, Pete and Mom, and there's Rose, there's Einer and Dolores. This is Sharon and Pete family, Tracy and Ward, to where he is now retired. This picture is taken out on the farm. In the back row is Godfrey, Edward, and Viggo. Then Sophie, Lydia, Einer, and Ella. In the front row is Rose, Hilda, Ingeborg, and Thora. This is a picture of Mom taken when she was about 4 years old. This is Bestema and Bestefa's house, taken in 1924. This is a new house that they were building in 1926. It's about a half a mile from the other house. As you can see, it's being built right in the middle of a field. Over to the right is a cornfield. This is my great Bestema standing in front of her house. This was taken on the farm. It has Maria, Ingeborg, Thora, Sally, Bernd, and Lydia. a picture of Sally and Mom standing in front of Bestafaw's barn. On the ground right behind them is a sled that is being pulled by a horse. This is Mom standing in front of the house with Thora. This is a picture standing in Nicetown, Nebraska with Milda, Vera, Mom, Sophie, Ella, Dolores, Della. This is a fisherman's friend. It will tell you how long a fish you catch. You can always tell your friends exactly how big the fish was. It will extend to 10 feet for the deluxe model and to 15 feet for the better model. Never lies. And I'll give you some history. There's Thora, Einer, Mom, there's Rose, and Axel. This is taken with their spouses. There's Axel and Marion, and Thora, Pete and Mom, and there's Rose, there's Dolores. This is Sharon and Pete family, Tracy and Ward, where he is now retired. This picture is taken out on the farm. In the back row is Godfrey, Edward, and Viggo. Then Sophie, Lydia, Einer, and Ella. In the front row is Rose, Hilda, Ingeborg, and Thora. This is a picture of Mom taken when she was about 4 years